I got another one for y'all today, and it is old man Isaac Netero versus the psychic Genkai. Now, we're doing it like we do all these Crossverses battles. The first fight's gonna be in the Hunter x Hunter verse. They're gonna fight in the NGO, and then in the Yu Yu Hakusho world, they're gonna fight at Genkai's compound in the forest over there at Genkai's compound. With that being said, we'll just get right into it. Strength goes to Isaac Netero. Even though he has, Genkai by at least 50 years, right? And Genkai, we understand she's old. This old man is moving physically better than like people in Hunter x Hunter who are like my age and older, who should by all means be moving better than Isaac Netero, but ain't. For the large majority of the fucking world, he's still, doing shit. Even at a weaker age, that's not his prime. And he's still doing that kind of thing. Genkai, she she's not physically that strong. She's strong for a little old lady, and she is, but compared to Netero, nah, not doing shit. Speed, I give it to Netero. I was thinking about Genkai, she's kind of nimble, but then as I remember Genkai and shit, right? She got tagged by Tagoro. Tagoro's not a fast character. Like, he's quick, but he's not like he's not described as like a speed demon per se, right? We know him for like his durability and shit. Either way, he grabbed, Genkai. She should have been able to dodge that shit if I'm being honest. Isaac Netero was able to pull off speed feats, casually, easily. He was walking down one side of the hallway, right? He was coming in like this, but he moved real quick, past, and then he acted like he was walking in the other direction. He was coming from the other side. He did all that as a 120-year-old old man. Speed goes to Isaac Netero. That's all I needed to see. Durability, Isaac Netero. Now, neither of these people are like tanks, like especially not Genkai, but like he definitely has durability over Genkai. Endurance, I'm giving that shit to Netero. Netero would be in longer fights. He trained, and that was when he was young, but he's still running around being active at an old age. Genkai could sometimes she can sit in her compound and just like meditate and just like drink tea all fucking day, play video games. That is not being active. She can endure in a fight then. We now have the intelligence, and I think Genkai is slightly smarter than Netero. Not saying that Netero ain't smart. He's the chairman of the Hunter Association, but it's also because of his physical powers and abilities. He did train people up for a long time, but Genkai's also done the same thing, and she would try to figure out what the fuck's going on with Netero. She ain't a dumb bitch. I would never say Genkai is a stupid ass bitch. She's actually, she might be like a stubborn old bitch though. She might be, hard on people, but she's not dumb. So I give the edge to Genkai. When it comes to experience though, that's definitely Isaac Netero. He has her beat by a lot. Close skills going to Isaac Netero as well. Now Genkai, she trained in the martial arts for her a long period of time of her life too. But like Isaac Netero, take her time and times it by 2. This old man's been, doing that shit for a long time, y'all. Like this shit's ain't no game. And close skills still got it like that. Range skills though, I am giving it to Genkai. She does have it. This is the spirit wave, nigga. We're talking about the spirit gun. The spirit gun is basically like Kamehameha on your finger. Now let's, let me not, confuse you or anything and say this. This is not Yusuke's spirit gun. Yusuke's spirit gun is more like on the levels of like Z Fighters, Kamehameha. Maybe even better than there. Like, and I'm not talking about Goku and all that. I'm talking about Yamcha and fucking Krillin. He could actually like beat these guys in a like clash. Now Genkai, not quite there, not quite. But it is gonna force Netero to use 100 type Guanyin as a defensive tool. Because he doesn't want to take that shit head on. He don't. Even if it's Genkai, he can fire probably 2 to 3 off. Hacks go to Netero. Years of martial arts experience, and then the 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva, right? Environment goes to Netero, as these are fighting the NGO, right? With that being said, Netero wins mid difficulty against Genkai. Now, when we go over to Genkai's world, in her compound, right? We got Netero with the physical strength still. Speed goes to Netero again. Durability goes to Netero. Endurance goes to Netero. Intelligence goes to Genkai. She makes sure she's up to date on all kind of shit with like in the world and what's going on. She knows that kind of stuff. She knows about, threats that could possibly be, coming their way. Netero being that, she would know something about him beforehand. She could sense his aura and shit. She'd just be like, I can tell just by looking at you that you're not just some regular old man. You've been doing what you've been doing for a while. You got some like hidden moves and shit, so I'm not gonna like play games. She's gonna say shit like that. Experience, Netero. Netero has her beat by a lot there. Close skills, Netero. Range skills, Genkai. Spirit gun, that is still a issue, That's like her like trump card, but it's not gonna be enough. Recoup goes Genkai though. Both times. Recoup goes Genkai. She has died and come back to life. That's what we'll use for that. Hacks, Isaac Netero. Even though the spirit gun's a win, not a win con for her, but it like keeps her in the fight longer, and it does. Like this girl is not durable or, got an endurance like Netero. Come on, y'all. Like you know about this fucking man's history. Hacks go to Netero, and then environment goes to Genkai. If it's at Genkai's compound, she has the advantage. She knows about the play. Even so, Netero wins mid difficulty. She's kind of like, she really is like frail and shit. But like for somebody like that, she still fights, and she ain't just gonna kick the bucket. She always fights and shit when she can. And Netero, that's all his fucking thing. That's all he does. He fights and trains and fights and trains and always looking for a worthy opponent. She wouldn't meet that requirement. Now the spirit gun and spirit wave shit would be like interesting to Netero, and he would summon Counter-Strike Guanyin as a defensive measure, like not even to like, bring the hands on her and shit. Not even for that. Just as like the statue to like come up and block the attack. That type of deal. With that being said, that is how those fights go. Scenario 1 and Scenario 2. Netero wins mid difficulty against Genkai. Be cool, y'all. And let me know what you think in the comments.